welcome once again. It is Thursday, July 2nd. It is episode number 3 of Real Talk Bluegrass. I'm Michelle Lee, your host, and our very special guest today is Nick Chandler of Nick Chandler and Delivered, and Audie McGinnis from Unspoken Tradition. And looking forward to having these guys join me here, and we're going to just get real. Of course, as we prepare for the holiday weekend, I know everybody's getting ready to kick back and relax, and a lot probably really wishing they were at a festival this weekend to enjoy all this amazing, great bluegrass and Americana music. But hey, we're going to keep you company at least for the next, who knows, hour, 25 minutes, depending on how things go. You know how it's all fun and it's just going to roll. And we're just going to get real here on Real Talk Bluegrass with me, Michelle Lee. And so let's get these guys in and let's have all the fun that we possibly can have. Hey, Audie. Hey, Nick. Well, thanks for joining
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Michelle.
Well, first and foremost, cannot thank you guys enough for giving me some time today outside of, our regular realm of being on the radio. This is a little fun, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, let's get a little real. Of course, both of you guys have some amazing, great new music out. And Audie, right now, Unspoken Tradition just released a single, At the Bottom Again. Tell us a little bit about, this song and during this time that we're dealing with COVID-19.
Yeah, so the song was actually, it was written by John Weisberger and Justin Carbone, and we got a hold of it and pretty immediately knew that it was something we wanted to work with, and I don't know, it just really excited us in a way that I don't know, it just really, I just knew, but when you listen to it and you hear the lyrics, it's to me initially it's about it's a getting left song, and it talks about how this person was deceived by their partner, and they're now opening their eyes to it, but they feel like they're stuck at the bottom. They've got to start over, and it's interesting because I think you're the first person to ask me about what this song means during this whole time of, everything we're working through with music and everything kind of stopping. Because I think while that song is obviously, it was written before any of all this started, but it's a relationship song, but the idea of starting at the bottom and having to start back over, like if you think of the person who's being deceptive as not a person but just an obstacle, the song kind of takes on a new light. And as we have worked through some of these obstacles, we realized that the song kind of took on a new meaning for us as well. So it's a way to look at, like, okay, I'm in a situation where I've got to, whether it's an intentional or an unforced hard reset, so to speak, how do I move on from this? So we're at the bottom, we're starting back.
Right, exactly. Well, and kind of, if you think about it, at the bottom, you're at the back, you kind of relationship thing, like you said. And then here we go with a guy like Nick Chandler, who writes a two-timer song. That's their latest single. And, tell us a little bit about this.
Well, I'll tell you about this song. This song was one of those that, I'd wrote Big Bill. And when me and Sammy first had our initial meeting, he asked me if I had anything original or whatever. And I said, well, I've got this cowboy song that I wrote. It's kind of a cowboy Western thing, which is different. And, and he was like, oh, okay. When he heard it, it was real good. And he enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those that, I don't write a lot, but when I do, it's quick. And, I better have a piece of paper in front of me. And he's like, man, if you could write another one kind of like Big Bill along that way, it would be awesome. So I think my actual words was, well, that ain't as easy as it sounds, and I'll just get real and tell the whole story. I was actually taking a shower. We were getting ready to go. Me and my wife were getting ready to go out, and the song just kind of came to me. I mean, it came to me literally in the shower because, we got 3 TVs going, a pug that's barking, we're busy people, phones ringing, and that's the only place I get any peace really. And I started writing it, and I got out of the shower and was coming in here to write it down. And I done the worst thing in the world. I give my wife the hand. She started talking to me, and I give her the hand I would never do that, guys. Don't ever do that. But I knew if I didn't get these words down, they were gone. Because I wrote a lot of gospel music. I probably wrote 30 plus gospel songs that I've got recorded. But Bluegrass, Big Bill was the first one. This was the second one. It just kind of rolled out, and I wrote it down. And once you seen what I was doing, everything was good. But it's kind of like you, Audie. I wrote this song. I just started. Sometimes I get lyrics, and then sometimes I get rhythms and melodies going over my head, and I start writing to that. Well, this was one I just started thinking about things, and I thought, man. I was just humming around. The words West Virginia came to me, and I thought, met a girl in West Virginia. That's pretty good. And it just kind of rolled off, and it's a 3-parter. I met her, West Virginia, fell in love with her, brought her home. Heard she was cheating with this, this Hatcher boy. And then the third verse is, well, some people, I think it's, some people thought that they had left, some people thought that they'd run off and left town, but really I'd murdered them. So it's the great old. Well, I mean, you got the beginning, the build, and the end. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. And there's nothing like a good murder ballad to at about 160 beats a minute to get your point across. So and it's I'll tell you, it's unbelievable for me. Like I say, I spent a lot of time in gospel music. I started doing that after I played with Bobby Hicks for I don't know, I was with him 5 or 6 years, and I just wanted to do something. I've always played bluegrass, and it's surreal that, these songs I've written, I'm real fortunate to be picked up by so many radio stations like yours and be on charts and this chart and that. I don't know if Audie feels that same way, but you look at it, it's like, man, is this real? Is this happening?
I was going to ask that. Do you guys ever feel like this is like a surreal thing? Is this really happening? And that, so Nick, go elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, the fact that you get to play music and write music and perform when able, does it feel real?
No, sometimes it really doesn't, because you start out, Audie, I don't know how you guys start out. I mean, I know you guys were starting to really build in Asheville. You're starting to get a following in Asheville. And I've seen the progression of Audie and those guys, because I've known Ty. God, I don't know how long I've known Ty. But for me, it's surreal for me, too, because I took about a year off from music to decide what I wanted to do. Because I love playing gospel music and love singing gospel music. But, it's really tough. You play 2 churches on Sunday, 1 on Saturday, and, and you put all these miles on the car. And, financially, it can be good. Sometimes it's not so good, and I'd had some success on charts there with some gospel music. But then I was like, I love playing bluegrass. I missed it. I love getting to travel with Hicks. And I talked to my wife about it. And was like, this is what I want to do. And that's what she'd wanted me to do the whole time. And it's surreal because, this was going to be my 3rd year back in bluegrass, but I'm going to call it 2 because this year's,
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to call it 2, but it's surreal. And Sammy Passamano, I can't say enough. He took a chance on us from seeing some live videos of us playing, and we've dealt, had a really good relationship going on. And
right,
615 has been great to me. So it's every time I see my song come across Sirius, I'm like, are you kidding? It's that. Are you kidding? I'm just a redneck from Western North Carolina.
Right. What about you, Audie? How do you feel about this being?
I'm right there with Nick. I mean, like when we've been lucky enough, blessed enough to pick up some accolades along the way for some songs that have done really well, especially off our last album, and it's pretty surreal to see. Like I have folks taking screenshots of charts and sending them to me, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is so cool. And like, I mean, it's one of those things like where you don't want to act like it's. You want to act like you've been there before, even though everybody knows maybe you haven't, but it's like you don't want to because it translates to people. I mean, it can come off bad, So I just try to be humble and act like it's, but inside I'm like, yes, but it's really cool, and it is a point of pride, Sure, it's I've got a couple of little plaques from little wall hangers here and there, and things like that of things that we've accomplished, and And that's stuff that I'll never forget. It's really
Yeah.
cool. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, I don't think I think it's important to remember, like, I put my pants on in the morning just like everybody else, one leg at a time. I'm just another old guy, it's no big deal. And I think, I don't know, like when I think of like artists that I have looked up to and idolized and, really thought highly of through the years, the ones that really, really last in my memory are the ones that I'm lucky enough to meet, and they just act like regular people.
Yeah.
Right.
And I try to think of that. And again, that is not to say that I think that we have achieved anything near what some of those folks have achieved. But, I've had some opportunities to meet people at festivals that I could tell really, really loved our music and really like it meant something to meet us. And being able to be humble and have those real conversations with those people, that's incredible, and I don't see myself ever getting away from that human side of it, no matter what kind of success we're lucky enough or blessed enough to experience.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think you hit a key thing is, the folks who look up to you, who idolize you guys pretty much, basically. I mean, it's funny, people ask, well, with me being in broadcasting, it's like, did you have someone? I mean, it's not like people are like, oh, no, you probably just listen to music. You really didn't. I actually have a very inspiration that was given to me to do what I do. With a very good dear friend who's became a friend of mine when I was in high school. And in this direction, it was like, I was going on the path of going to go continue my, softball career collegiately and, things like that. And you know what? Things just happen for a reason. And that route didn't happen. Broadcasting did. And I can't thank enough to actually Erin Kelly, major market radio host in Cleveland. She was, right there taking and, hearing when you call in a radio station and you actually talk to the person that's on the radio. That was awesome. And that's what I like try to remind people. Well, that's me. When you do call the station, you're getting me. You're not getting anybody else. You get the chance to talk to me if you want.
That's like the other day when you called, or I called into the interview and you started talking. I was like, wait, is this Michelle? Like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think about how, like, as a kid, I'm not going to name any names, but as a youngster, I had a couple of opportunities to meet folks, and maybe it didn't go the way that you would expect it to. And that leaves an impression on you as well, and that doesn't mean that I went home and burned all those albums or anything like that. But that stuff, I remember those, I remember those interactions, and you remember the good ones and you remember the ones where you're like, that's not how I expected that to go. Yeah. And I mean, I guess all that to say, like, at the end of the day, we're still just people.
Well,
and you gotta take every opportunity to be good to everybody you meet and they come in contact with, and it helps us and it helps them, and it's just the way we ought to behave. So
see, now Audie, I was a little different. I had a couple of interactions growing up because I was real fortunate to get to meet a lot of people because my whole family's played music and everything, and I've got to meet a lot of people. And with me, it was different. My perception of hearing changed after I met certain people. It's like, they don't sound quite as good to me as they did, and I told myself, I was playing, I was 9 or 10 years old and I started playing, and I told myself, if I ever get blessed, lucky enough to be able to do anything, I will. If somebody wants me to sign anything, I'll do it. If they want me to stand there and talk to them about Hogan's Goat, and if I've got time and I'm not trying to get to the stage, the CD, you probably ran into that. You sometimes you have to say, I'll be right back. You got to go places.
It's easy to feel like you're snubbing people sometimes, but it's because you've got 100 things going on.
100 things going on. But, I've always tried to make sure if they want to talk to me about Uncle Dad Sassy's, moonshine still, I'll talk to them, because I remember those couple of times, that somebody was like, treated me that way. I'll give you a good example of somebody who has stayed humble. And Audie, you'll go along with me with this one. Me and Brian Sutton are right at the same age. We used to go to Fiddler's Grove all the time. We'd play, he'd play guitar contest. I'd play the mandolin contest. They had their band called the Pisgah Pickers. We had us with my friends George Buckner and those guys, and we would camp up beside each other. And Brian is right now, to me, Brian's probably the greatest active guitar player there is. Every time he sees me, every time somebody talks to him, it's, "Hey, how are you?" And that's where it's at to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know who amazes me about remembering pretty much everybody they see, and that he remembers them by name and everything, is Doyle Lawson.
Yeah, he's got a sharp memory for sure.
He does. I mean, every time I could see, it'd be like a couple years between seeing him, and it's like, "Hey, Michelle, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Whoa," that is just a remarkable, a person who remembers that, remembers a lot.
I have a cool Doyle story. I didn't really know who Doyle Lawson was until I was probably 13 or 14, and the way I got to know who he was my brother played in this gospel group called the Primitive Quartet. Played with him for like 16, 17 years, and they worked a lot with Doyle back in the middle 80s, worked a lot with him. I was brought up on, people like Bobby Osborne and Vernon Derrick and those guys. And occasionally I thought it was crazy when I got to hear the Rounder 44 album, and I'm like, man, it can sound this way too. But they were doing a TV taping, and it was just when Russell Moore and Scott Vestal had started with him. Down in Greenville, I think it was right around Greenville, Tennessee, South Carolina. It's WGGS, it's kind of local TV station. And I was sitting on the bus because Doyle rode down with the Primitives. I'm sitting here, 13 years old, 14, sitting side by side with Doyle. I mean, I'm sitting in a Silver Eagle bus going down the road, and here's Doyle Lawson sitting beside me. And I just discovered the Bluegrass Album Band and all those things. And I had his mandolin album. And I looked at him and I was like, man, there's a tune on that mandolin album I'd love to hear. I can't figure out a part on it. And it was called Lover's Concerto. And, Doyle's a great mandolin player. So right there going down the road, he's like, well, here, let me show it to you. Sitting there on the bus going down the road, and here's Doyle Lawson showing me how to play this. That's one of those memories that you kind of take with you. And I bet Audie's had some of those too. It's like, you remember that.
Absolutely. And there was one, actually, I'll tell you one that really blew my mind, that I was not even involved in the interaction, but I observed it between an artist and another person. But it was Audie Blaylock.
Yeah.
And we were I cannot remember if this was at Spigma or at IBMA, but they had just come off of a stage. And he was standing kind of in the back of a room, just kind of mingling with a little crowd of people. And I just happened to be walking by, and I heard this gentleman walk up to Audie and say, "I know you don't remember me, but," and Audie cut him off and he said, "I remember exactly who you are." And he told the guy his name. He told him what festival they met at. Wow. He said, "We talked about this." And he said, "And your wife, you told me that day that your wife had just gotten over the flu." And I was just like, how in the world? And this was like really, really early in my experience playing in front of people. And like early on, I had trouble dealing with people coming up and wanting to get, kind of in, it's kind of overwhelming when you're first getting acclimated to people coming up and you're like, "I don't know you."
You're a celebrity.
My problem always was I was always afraid I'd say the wrong thing. So I was kind of bashful. I was always kind of shy starting out. I'd be like,
As a safeguard, it's like you kind of want to keep people at a distance, and it takes some getting over that, because I don't know, but I remember, like, not long before that happened, I had somebody come up to me at a show, and I don't know, I don't really remember how the interaction went down even, because I just stepped off stage. There were a couple things going on. We had an issue or something during the set with some technical stuff, and it was a hectic time, and this person come up, and I remember, like, I knew they walked away feeling like I had snubbed them, and it made me feel bad. And then, like, the next week I was at this event and saw Audie Blaylock remembering. I mean, I'll bet you if that guy had told Audie his address, he would have remembered it. You know, I mean, it was amazing. And I said, I've got to figure out a way to make a concerted effort to put that amount of energy into meeting people and talking to people, you know, and that was just a pivotal moment for me. You know, like we've been working so hard on crafting our stage show, and it just all of a sudden I had this epiphany, and it was like, if you can't relate to people when you're standing out here talking to them, that is just as important as anything you do on stage, you know.
Well, you know, I preach to my guys in my band about certain things. I'm like, never walk in a straight line. Always walk up to somebody with your hand out. And the other thing I've always tried to preach to them, you can play the best music in the world, and people don't want to hear this. And music is about 60% of playing music and trying to do what we do. The other 40% is the rehearsals, trying to get your sound right. And about 20% of it is really how you react with these people that come up to you. You know, I still get, and it may be weird. I mean, I've been selling CDs, my God, records and tapes, 25 years. But, you know, I still, when people come up and buy something, it's like, man, these people got it. They understood it. And my thing is that I always have a Sharpie in my hand, and it blows their mind. I'm like, here, let me sign it. What's your name? You know, let me sign that for you. And who do I make this out to, you know? But, you know, that art, talking to people is 20% of it to me. I mean, you can be one of the best musicians in the world and one of the best singers in the world, but if you can't connect with people either on or off stage, I mean, just stay at home and play to your dog, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting to me too that I found after I started really working on putting myself out there and spending more time at the merch table and talking to these folks and like really listening to them too, you know. You know, there are nights that all you want to do is just get in the van and get home or get to the next hotel, you know, or whatever. Like there are times where the last thing you want to do is that, but it seems like those are the times where you meet that person that you remember. I don't know. It's strange how that happens, but it's like I have had people walk up to me and say things that had nothing to do with music that have just, I mean, I'll remember these conversations and they have illuminated things about life that it's almost like they were put in my path, you know?
Well, and, you know, it's exactly like when I do interviews on the radio show. You know, you want the artist leaving the interview like that was like I want to be back on that show. You know, that was awesome, and that's how I feel like when I do interviews with artists on the show. It's like, okay, that was like the best one, or you know, or I can't wait to have them on again. It's like, when can I do that? You know, when can we make that happen? Well, you know, this is I'm looking at some of our comments and that, and of course, Rick from Simi Valley, California. We all know Rick, and
it's not like
everybody knows Rick. yeah, exactly. It is. He says, I don't know if you saw this, but he said he hopes Nick doesn't remember him from that time in Raleigh. I'm kind of hoping.
Bobby Powell introduced us, and we were down there talking, and he showed me his mandolin, and I showed him. I think I showed him. It was right there at their CD table. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, he's a huge fan of the music, bluegrass, and everything. He's just a great guy, and of course, Bobby Powell was in here as well, saying hello to us. So that's awesome to see him.
Hey, Bobby, what's up?
Talk to you in the morning, pal.
So, you know, as obviously the IBMA Awards were announced, the nominees. And there's so many amazing, talented artists that have been nominated. I want to kind of get you guys' vibe on the two categories that have the ties in them. And let's touch a little base. Here we are with our Entertainer of the Year that has a tie this year, and also, if I'm not mistaken, it is what is that? The album of the year. All right, you guys are getting ready to release albums. Inside the Lines is getting ready to come out on 615 Hideaway Records on July 24th. Audie Unspoken Traditions albums in the works. Hopefully for a late fall, early winter time frame. I'm hoping.
We're getting it together. We're getting it together.
And that's the key thing. So, if you look at this album category and, you think about it, here we go, round 3. We're in the final round for the 31st IBMA Awards. And we have albums like Chicago Barn Dance from Special Consensus, Home with Billy Strings, Live in Prague, Czech Republic, Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, Moon Over My Shoulder, Larry Sparks, Tall Fiddler with Michael Cleveland, 12 Tears and Trouble, the Pool Ramblin' Boys, and Tribulation, the Appalachian Roadshow. Here's a wide spectrum of artists, different styles of bluegrass. And, I kind of want to, you guys, give me a feel about like the different in the variety of the selection that landed in the top category for album of the year, with the variety of bluegrass artists from Hall of Famers to newcomers. I mean, Billy Strings last year was the new artist. Here he is, album of the year nominee and entertainer of the year nominee. So Audie, kind of give me a little feel of what your take is on this particular category with the mixture of the talent and as well as the styles.
I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it. I've actually got it pulled up on my phone as well, just to refresh my memory. But there's something here for everybody, I mean, there really is. And I mean, I don't know, like you look at these and it's just, I love all these albums.
Audie, I want you to know one thing. If you would run for governor, I would vote for you just off of that comment. That was the best.
Wait, what did I say?
Just, it's how you're saying it. I would vote for you for governor this season if you ran.
Okay. Did you hear that, Roy Cooper? I'm announcing. I'm throwing my hat in the ring.
Let me tell you what, we won't even get started on how the IBMA was even handled with our governor. It was, I'm not even, anyway, sorry.
No, it's a bummer. There. It's a bummer. I mean, I suppose you got to respect and understand, and, but it is a bummer. IBMA is like, I mean, it's
Super Bowl.
Bluegrass guys, it's like going to the Super Bowl and getting to participate in it, but it's a bummer. But, I think if there is an upside to it, I think maybe there are a lot of folks that can't get to Raleigh that maybe will be able to witness some of this stuff virtually that would not have had an opportunity, just trying to find the silver lining in it. But no, Michelle, about the album of the year stuff, I mean, I think it's just reflective of the changing, the growth that you're seeing as the genre has developed and over the years, and it's good to see guys like Billy Strings on there, but it's really, what's interesting to me is that folks like Billy and Larry Sparks can be on the same ballot, that trad stuff is still there and it's not going away, and that's a beautiful thing too. So,
one thing me and you touched base on just last week when we talked on the radio about the variety of bluegrass and the influence that, artists like Larry Sparks, Doyle Lawson, J.D. Crowe, and, the Stanley Brothers, and how, like, Unspoken Tradition takes, what they were brought up on into your own world and make it your own and have your own sound. And here we go. This is an example with exactly what bluegrass is, a wide variety of great music, from the different.
And Billy Strings does some pretty out there stuff, but he's also got Doc Watson. You can hear the Doc Watson in some of his style. I mean, it's incredible. There's no denying that, that it's all flowing downstream, so to speak. I mean, it's an episodic thing.
So for you, Nick, what's your partake in the variety and the album selection for album of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice to see, the basic 4 instruments still being considered. That, I'm, like banjo, mandolin, guitar and stuff, that everybody has that. It's really nice to see that from the days of, Larry Sparks, because he's been in it forever, till Billy Strings, they still have that common thing of, we just make different music, but on the same instruments. It's super cool. And it's also, it's nice to be in an industry where we play that the statesmen of bluegrass can still be up for awards and not put out to pasture for, to make ways for the new guys to come in. I mean, if you watch Larry, we done a couple of shows with him last year. I mean, he still put the chill bumps on your neck. I mean, he could still do it. And Dole's stuff has always been fresh.
It's timeless.
He's always made a way to capture whatever the mood is for that period of time in music. He's always been able to find a niche to fit in, and that's not easy. I mean, my God, how long has he had Quicksilver now? It's 40 some years, and he's been able to do it. And Special C, I love Special Consensus. I've loved them since I remember seeing them on this old TV show that used to come on TNN called Fire on the Mountain back in the early 80s. I remember seeing, them back then, and I enjoy them. It's just, and here he is from Chicago, and here, Dole is from here and Larry's from here, but you see all these people that come together, and it's like, oh, so you can still love playing the mandolin, but, I don't have to be considered a Northerner to be able to go out here and, be a part of it. And to me, that's the cool part of this whole lineup. You've got it's like going to Baskin Robbins in this category this year. You've got a flavor for everybody,
So, and of course, as we go into entertainers, your entertainers, both of you entertain, your bands entertain. The important thing is obviously seeing the band in person.
Yeah.
COVID-19, that's put the stop to everybody pretty much at either not 100% or if, at 90%. It's been a crazy time, but here we are with a tie in Entertainer of the Year. So this is something really you're thinking about. How did they entertain us in 2019, and in the first few months of 2020? If you had a chance to see the artists that are nominated, this is another widespread. With Blossom Range, again, nominated. Billy Strings, like I said, new artist last year, this year, nominated for Entertainer of the Year. He is an entertainer. Del McCurry Band, and then Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, entertainers. Sister Sadie, first all-female group to win Vocal Group of the Year in 2019 for IBMA. First year being nominated for Entertainer of the Year, and first female group to do that this year. And then Special Consensus. Again, you look at all the entertainers that are out there. Does this lineup surprise you from what all the voting members have, to choose from?
I don't think so. Do you, Audie? I mean, it's like bluegrass is just not for anymore, for like the good old boys, that sit on the porch and do whatever. I mean, it's for everybody now. And, I would just like to have seen in the past, since I've been doing it, really out there playing music, which was, my time's the 80s. I'm a little older, I think, than Audie. Like how many people were overlooked that were great players just because they didn't fit the stereotype?
Yep.
And it's like, how many great players were looked over? And that's kind of where I look at it. My thing is, if you're a good player, you're a good player. I don't care what you do. If you can play, you can play.
Well, and look at one thing I was looking at was the amount of overlap between Entertainer of the Year and Song of the Year. Like a lot of names make both of those ballots, and I think that's to speak to the sheer talent of those groups. But look at the Hall of Fame inductions this year.
Man, I about coming glued when they said Newgrass Revival, and I was like, oh my God, they would have probably got them to play. I'm sure they could have got them to play one. And I'm thinking, my God, look. So the IBMA people that are out there that have a lot to do with this, please get them in the studio, and please, them and the Johnson Mountain Boys, let them tape a song for those of us who would pay no telling what for a ticket to see them.
Okay,
I'd go a hundo to see either one of those bands.
Absolutely. But think about the Johnson Mountain, think about the Johnson Mountain Boys, like their sound, and then think about Newgrass Revival, and that they're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in the same year. It's incredible, and it's really cool to see that that inclusiveness of saying, I mean, because I've been to places before where a pretty trad band will play and then a more progressive band will play, and you'll see folks fold their lawn chairs up, take off.
Yeah, it's like it's like the ocean tide coming in and out. Well,
sure,
they're not on it, then they make way for the other guys. Yep. Sam Bush and those guys, I remember I got to see them in Black Mountain, North Carolina, this little place called McDibb's. And I don't know if you remember McDibb's, Audie. This was during the Hold to the Dream album. I would literally, as close as I'm sitting to this camera, I got to sit in front of those guys and watch them. The tickets were, and this was like 86, 87, and tickets were $15 a piece then.
Wow.
That was a lot of money back then to see a band, and they put 2 shows on because the demand was so high. Luckily, I knew a guy, so I got to see both sets. I got to see them in their heyday, and it was absolutely the most amazing, breathtaking. Because me and Audie both recording. There's tricks that you can do if you choose to, but to see these guys live, and you're like, my God, he done that. I mean, he done it on tape, and it was live.
It's cool when you see somebody live, and you're like, oh, this is just like watching the album. And the Johnson, that wasn't a studio trick.
And Johnson Mountain Boys, I got to see them in their heyday at Doyle's Festival in Denton in the 80s. My God, the energy! I mean, you want to talk about energy? It was absolutely. It was unreal just watching these guys. And I've been so lucky. I've just been lucky to see a lot of this. Yeah.
Audie,
would you obviously see him? I would. I'd pay $100 to see one of those guys.
I'd probably drop $100 for that. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, Sammy. There's just something to work on, Sammy Passamano.
Since you guys brought up the Hall of Fame inductees, which obviously I was going to touch base on, we're going to jump right into this because a lot of folks, and I'm kind of surprised because I thought this year we were going to see at least one female be inducted. There's so many who are deserving: Alison Krauss, Rhonda Vincent, Lori Lewis, just to name a few.
Molly O'Day.
Exactly. How
many songs has people covered of hers?
It's just amazing. Not to say, these guys are wonderful, talented musicians. Of course, obviously we follow, criteria to get into the Hall of Fame. And, I'm just, when is it going to be a women's year where it's all women being inducted?
I think it's coming quicker than what you think. But like I say, it goes back to what I said earlier.
You don't even know what I think.
I know what you think. I can tell by looking at you and that American shirt what you think. But if you think about it, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Back in the day, people wasn't included that should have been included. Like, think about Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper. Those guys had an incredible career in the 70s. I think they had a great festival. Delia Bell. So what was his name? Bill Grant and Delia Bell. There's another one that you don't hear about. Had a good career. Up into there. Lori Lewis. It goes on. These ladies were getting it back in the day. But I really think, and I hope I don't make anybody mad.
Be kind, Nick. Be kind.
But I really think that Alison Krauss was the one who busted the door down. Is like, yeah, what have we been doing wrong all these years? Listen to this. This is like phenomenal.
Do you think this breakthrough is going to come through the fact that 2019 we had all female vocal group of the year, and they are now nominated for entertainers of the year, whether they win or not? That's another huge breakthrough for women in bluegrass. I know I'm talking to men, but what I'm talking about.
It's true. I've met young girls that are 12 or 13 years old wear me out on the mandolin.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. It's like how, it's like, well, there that was, Audie's probably had the same thing.
It's not a boys' sport anymore. It's not.
No.
The girls are coming for you.
You look at some of these, even some of the younger, like Molly Tuttle and Sierra Hull and folks like that are just,
fortunate.
They are upper echelon, throw male, female out of it. It doesn't even matter.
Uh-huh. It's talent of what they have and bring it out.
I'd like to throw a name in there of somebody who I've known for a very long time. another Union Grove, Fiddler's Grove person that I met back when we were teenagers. I mean, 13, 14 years old, is Gina Britt.
Gina is an excellent banjo player.
When Gina was 14 years old, she could absolutely play like she does today. There was she's just always been able to play. I mean, it's like unreal.
So there you go. Here's another category, we're going to talk about banjo. Here, 3 women nominated this year. Gina Britt, Gina Furtado, Kristen Scott Benson, Ned Lubernicki, and Scott Bessel. Obviously, the 2 are male.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think honestly, like you said, I think everybody in the industry, fans that are voters, the professional members, I think everybody's, opening up their eyes. Their eyes are being opened as to the talent that is outside of what they're, what they consider, hey, this is what I listen to. But I think it's, with the new music that's coming out, the new, the freshness and, everything from everyone, it's becoming hard to, narrow it down to get to these top 5. And that's why we end up with a tie in 2 categories. I mean, what we have 7 in the album of the year this year and 6 for the entertainer, and before we get into the next thing, I want to mention, we want to give a shout out to and a congratulations to the 3 that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well deserving, of course.
For sure.
Grass Revival, the Johnson Mountain Boys, and of course Station Inn's JT Gray. Look at what he's done to. I mean, you both have played there.
It was a bucket list place for me to play.
Absolutely,
bucket list place for me to play.
And now, I mean, when was the last time, Audie, that you guys played at the Station Inn?
Last May or June. It's been about a year.
For the promotion of
it was like maybe late May of last year. It wasn't long after the album came out.
Right. Okay.
So.
And Nick, when was the last time you guys got? Do you remember when the last time you were out there?
The last time I played it has been a long time. I played it with Bobby Hicks was the last time I played it. JT's pretty. The reason why it's the club's done so good. You have to prove to him that you can cut it when you get in front of the microphones. So I met him back then and talked to him, but I don't think he knows my band quite as well as he would Audie's and theirs yet.
Right.
I'm hoping to get to play it with my group, but I got to play it. I think I played it a half a dozen times with Bobby Hicks, and it's like you see all these pictures from the early '80s, and then you go in there and it basically kind of looks the same.
It looks the same.
But I wouldn't want it to change. See, that's my dream when I seen those pictures was to play it like that.
It's funny, like that place is such a time capsule that when I saw the posts on social media about them redoing the stage floor, there was a little part of me that was like, oh, no, don't do it. I'm sure it was for a good – I mean, that's a much-needed repair, I'm sure.
It was probably getting ready to fall through.
Yeah, exactly. I would hate to know how much beer has been spilled on that carpet on that floor.
I was talking to somebody one time about the Station Inn, and I was like, out of all the famous people that's played it, if you took their albums and CDs or tapes, whatever, over the years, and you put them in a facility – how many millions would it be that the people that's played that have sold music? It'd be worth
fill up that
football
whole
stadium.
Room.
Yeah, it'd probably fill up. It'd probably fill up a couple of warehouses.
Oh yeah, what's so unique about the Station Inn, especially now that how much Nashville has grown into the modern style of stores and living space, and that there is that staple fixture right there that everybody wants to get to. I mean, look, Rick wants to get there. He hasn't been there yet, and we need to get Rick out of California and into Nashville to get to the Station Inn, because I know the coolest thing, especially during this COVID-19, he's been making sure everybody's with music from re-airing the shows since streaming went happen. So, he's definitely, it's a great place and a great thing people need to check out and get their subscription, with the Station is to catch the shows and everything. So, as we, kind of like move along here, I, kind of go off beaten path of what we've been talking about, because this is what we do. We talk real here on Real Talk, and I'm enjoying this. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Everybody's enjoying it as well. And you guys have so many amazing, great musicians that do play with you. But we'll get back to talking about the band specifically here in a second, and talk about the albums and the songs and the singles. But I want you guys to discover something, maybe discover something new, and rediscover it. Something that maybe you've done, but you want to rediscover it and renew what you're feeling, and to shake up the industry. And what is something that right now that if you could shake it up, what would it be, Audie?
I'll tell you what. Can I? I know this is so unpro to do this during an interview, but I just heard like a really loud bump, and my daughter.
Oh, go for it. Okay.
I'm gonna defer to Nick, and I'll have an answer for you when I come back. I will be right back, like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, let's see what I would do to shake this thing up. I'll tell you what I would do that I think would really shake up the industry. That it's an old gospel music thing. Is more live albums.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk live albums, I'm talking, go out there, cut the album, and then release it. I'm not talking about go cut the album, get the applause, and get all this, and release it, because, to me, the roughness of it, they do things to clean it up. And I understand when people are dropping 18, 20, 25 bucks on a project, they want it to be perfect. But to me, the thing about bluegrass and the thing that would shake it up is that the genre is so full of people who are talented and that can play. The roughness, to me, is what attracts me to bluegrass. It's like, man, that's what they, don't plug in, get you a couple of good Neumann microphones, tape everybody real good, and play it, because these guys can play.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be so neat to hear more actual live records. That would really shake it up.
Right. Well, so tell us a little bit. Obviously, I agree. I think you want that rawness when you see somebody live. I mean, and I'll use Infamous String Dusters for an example. I mean, right after you're done seeing them, they have the downloads. You can go to their sites, and boom, the songs or the show, which depending on what you want, is available.
Yeah.
They're not tweaking anything. What you see is what you get when you get that product.
And and to me, that's been a lot of these groups that have been able to stay together and still I hate to say make money, but make money and be able to do what they love, is because, when you hear them on a record, that's what you hear. Right. And I'm trying not to step on any toes, but it's like, if you could, a lot of these groups would cut more live albums, like gospel music. I know a lot about gospel music, and they would, like once every 14 months, these guys were cutting 2 records in 10 months, and every 14 months we've got to put out a live album, because that's what, it's the energy and, the sound of the instrument that night, and and it's the way, like, oh my God, did you hear the way this guy hit this note while he was singing? And it puts chills up your neck, because, when you get in the studio and you start doing things like that, you can sing the heart out of it.
Right.
I mean, if you sing it too many times, but yeah, I would do that to shake up the industry. I mean, actual, honest to goodness live albums, because
honestly,
if you go back and listen to some of the older stuff that was live, they used to do it a lot in the 70s and some in the 80s. If you listen to it, the recording stuff is there. You can do it and capture it. Don't take it. Don't do this. Don't do that. Listen to Johnson Mountain Boys. One of their live albums. Mm-hmm. Was it absolutely perfect? No, but was it great? Absolutely. Absolutely great.
The best souvenir anybody could walk away with is not only the memories of that concert, but even better is having a piece of that with yeah, I remember when that happened. Oh my gosh, you got to listen to this one. Listen to this track. I mean, listen to this. Listen to this guitar, break, this mandolin break, the banjo break.
Right.
It's just, that is what I think people really love when they get those live albums.
Right.
And I think that's what really sells it, is because you've been at the show and you can say, I was at that show. Listen to this album I was at.
I don't even really, it sounds horrible, I don't even really listen to recorded stuff anymore like that. Since YouTube and there's this site called Sugar Megs, You can find live shows, live unedited shows of these guys playing off the mixing board. And, you know, and it is, it's just powerful. One of them on there was a Newgrass Revival thing at Slagle's Pasture that was real good.
I absolutely have that recording that I pulled off of Sugar Megs and put on a CD like years ago, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
And there's another one of the original Quicksilver. It's like 1982 in Washington D.C. Those guys, and what I mean, it was just so. You know, did they make a blunder here and there? Of course. I mean, it's live music. You know, we're not robots. But my God, the energy, man, that you were just feeding off of this live stuff. I mean, it's unreal.
Well, I guess your next conversation with your, label there with 615 Hideaway is going to be like Bobby says, cut a live album. You know, get on it, Sammy.
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to be a different cat to cut those, don't you?
I mean, I don't know. I know, like for us, we talked about doing that, but I don't know. I don't think we're there. Like, I don't think we have I don't think we have the level of recognition for something like that to be relevant.
You have to have.
Don't underestimate selling yourself.
Well, yeah, but you gotta have a hardcore base of fans also to be able to fill up said place where you're going to play, to make all the hooping and hollering. Mm-hmm. And you know, you really, I think what hurts a lot of musicians these days is they don't understand really where their place is yet. You know, like me, I'm not going to fill up a 800 seat auditorium. I'm not stupid. But am I good enough to go in front of somebody that's going to fill up a 2,000 seat auditorium? Am I good enough to open for them? Yeah, I can do that. But you got to have that fan base also too, to be there, you know, because I'll tell you what, the way I've always looked at it, some of these guys that I've talked to, I'm there to have a good time with the fans. That ain't how I've ever looked at it. They're there to they want to be a part of our good time of playing music and send it to them. They want what you got. And if you're going at it the other way, I think you're lost. But I don't know. I mean, you got to have a big fan base, you know, like a Earls of Leicester or a Doyle that just done the prog thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that prog thing was probably pretty well live. I don't think there was a whole lot of knob turning with that. That's what you got. But I mean, that just speaks to the level of professionalism that those guys are. But I mean, could you imagine say Sierra Hull's band, just throw a name out there, come out and cut a completely live album, and you're like, she stood on that stage, nothing's tuned, nothing's done, and she's still that great.
I know.
Oh man.
Like a good live album ought to make you wish you had been there, you know.
Right. Exactly.
That's the whole appeal of a live recording is like, I mean, I hear stuff from back, you know, years ago, and I'm like, God, I was born in the wrong time. Like, I wish I could have been there for something like this, you know, like that's what a good live record would do. Yeah.
So, Audie, for you, I mean, we gave you time. Hope everything's okay with your daughter. Everything good?
Oh yeah, no, we're good. No blood. Okay. Just tough.
All right. Yeah. Good stuff.
She hits her head like 5 times a day. It's okay.
So, what for you? You know, what would you shake up in the industry right now? What would it be?
I want free tacos at every hospitality tent. Like that's it. No, in all seriousness, I don't know. I heard you asking Nick as I walked out of the room, and I was kind of thinking, I don't know. I mean, one thing that I would like to see more of is like cross-pollination between different bands, like guest appearances working with and like, okay, like this band featuring this guy from this other band, or this band, you know, featuring this singer, or even, and it doesn't even have to be from one bluegrass band to another, you know, even pulling people from outside of our genre, you know. We have kicked around some ideas in the past and never acted on any of it, but we may, I don't know for sure yet. We might have a pretty interesting guest appearance on a song.
Well, me and you, we talked a little bit about not really this point, but the collaboration of like
Right.
who would be somebody, not necessarily in the genre of bluegrass that
Right.
you would love to see, to collaborate with, whether it's writing a song or performing on stage, or working in the studio. I mean, who is someone, Audie, that you would love to do that with? Okay, whether they're living or dead. If you could bring someone
Living or
back.
dead? Ooh,
Yeah.
now that changes things. Honestly, I'll tell you what, if I could stand on stage with any band from any era, oh my God, I would give anything to play like a show with Buck Owens.
That I could,
And the
that would be cool.
Buckaroos, like I would love to like stand there with a telly and play with Don Rich, man. That would be so cool. But and I'm a sucker for that era of country music. It's it's great. But no, I would love to see more cross pollination from band to band. I would love to see more of it from genre to genre. And and that's the thing too. Like I think especially with the way things are now with the digital age of music,
It'd be pretty easy.
it would be very easy, but it would also think of like if you have a an artist that's got this huge following that maybe you've crossed paths with them and that they dig your stuff, they like it's an opportunity to move followers into a whole new realm of like hey, there's this guy that I really like, and I would have never expected him to do an appearance with a bluegrass band, but check this out,
Oh, yeah.
or even like Dan Tominski doing that Avicii thing, like that stuff. And I mean, it's different, and there are some, there are going to be a lot of people that hear that stuff and they're like, it's not for me, but there are a lot of people that really like it too. So I mean,
Right.
for what it's worth, it's not, it might not be the most trad thing in the world, but I mean, I don't know. It opens up some possibilities. I'll just put it
Right.
that way.
It does. How about you, Nick? I mean, is there someone living or dead that you would love to collaborate with?
Yes, and you all are going to laugh at me, but I don't care. Like I told y'all earlier when we were doing our pre stuff, I do things. I'm a different cat. If I like something, I like it. I'm a mandolin. Yeah, I mean, I'm a mandolin
I'm laughing
player,
at Trudy's comment. Sorry.
I love to play the mandolin. I've been playing for 40 years, but I've really, singing is, harmony singing to me is, we're starting to get a little bit of a reputation for our harmony singing and moving parts and stuff. But where I learned that was all these old bebop groups from back in the 50s, Spinners, Platters, and I know that's kind of weird. But those guys, when you listen to that stuff, if you go back and listen to those old recordings, I mean, they had one mic, and it's the vocals are. It's like I was saying about the live recordings. Even though it's in the studio, it's perfect. I mean, listening to those old vocals and how to move them around, it's like, man, listen to these guys sing. Nobody missed a beat. I love that. Temptations, I'd love it. I love that kind of stuff. I'm a bluegrasser through and through, but I love different kinds of music.
And I think, you have to have appreciation for all genre of music, whether it's, the doo-wops, it's, rock and roll to the heavy metal. I know that's kind of strange, but, you can implement it in the bluegrass genre and have your own take on it. And I think that's what makes, like, going back to the entertainers, like Billy Strings, he implements everybody who has influenced him in his music. And just like Unspoken Tradition, you guys do it, Nick, you do it. I mean, you could tell, when you listen to artists, you could tell their influences.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you guys like do solo breaks and things like that, like who you focused on to learn your chops or your playing and things like that, or your picking. I mean, it just shows. And I think that's like when, like when you're blindfolded, and someone puts on a song and, they're not going to tell you who it is, but guarantee you're going to know who it is by recognition of just, even if it's just an instrumental, you're going to know who it is because the appreciation of all the genre of music that you have because you guys won't be playing music if you didn't love all styles of music. You
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't be doing radio and being a host of a show if I didn't like all genre of music. I mean, I will. Here's a good another example. Like, so you know, when you hop in your car, like for me, you know, I just got done doing a show listening to old, you know, great classic country or Sunday the bluegrass. So guess what is the, when my iPad goes on or my iPhone goes on and you know the iTunes goes, and gonna guarantee you it's not gonna be one of those genre of music. You know, it is adult contemporary or it's pop or it's rock or it's a little, you know, it's out there, you know, eclectic music and singer-songwriter music. So my question for both of you, Audie, we'll go with you first because I love I just love watching your face here.
I'm reading some of these comments, and I'm also
I know they're hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking of some of the last thing I was listening to before.
Yeah.
Before we got on this call.
So what was the last thing that you had going in your car?
In my car, I'm not sure, but I was actually out in the wood shop a little bit ago and was listening to some Dr. Dre, actually. I love old hip hop too. I love it. And before that, I think yesterday I definitely listened to some Pantera. So
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. I am all over the place. I really am.
Well, hey, it's all right. I was listening to the Cars. So that was the last thing that played right before I got in the house. So
yeah, I mean, I listen to my fair share of bluegrass, but you never know when I pull up and crack my window. You never know what you're going to hear coming out.
Right. So, right. What about you, Nick? What's the latest thing?
I mean, me and my wife, that's the reason why we get along. We have such wide taste. Like we went and saw Journey last year. You know, the band Journey, and we saw I think it was Asia. I think they're the ones that done that song In the Heat of the Moment.
Yeah.
Don Felder was there. You know, we got to see them, and then we saw Styx. I like that stuff. And then I'll turn right back around and listen to a live recording of the Kingsmen from 1985.
Well, you know,
it's whatever mood I'm in. I mean, I can find greatness. If it's great, it's just, it don't matter if you're listening to somebody play the spoons or they're playing Yngwie Malmsteen. I mean, greatness is greatness on no matter what you hear. When you hear it, it's like, I appreciate it. We just got back from going to the beach, and golly, we were listening to 70s rock all the way down, singing to the top of our heads, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think if you don't listen to multiple styles of music, now this is my opinion only, and hopefully I don't rub anybody the wrong way, but I think if you just listen to one type of thing, you're closing yourself off.
Yeah,
because you know, I recorded a song, an old Everly Brothers song, 50s Brother Harmony. I recorded on the Bluegrass album, and it's come out bluegrass. I think if you take a song and you play it the way you play it, you know, you can expand that. I not being sounding funny, I sold a lot of CDs because of that song. Like, I remember seeing Phil and Don do that on TV, and I love the way you done it. I mean, but I would have never got that song if I hadn't have opened up my mind to try different things. I mean, disclaimer in the, like I say, I'm a child of the 80s. I feel like I grew up in the best decade for everything because, well, the recording process had caught up with everybody. People, I mean, it's just like you had all the hair band stuff. I actually played in a rock and roll band. I had a Mando caster.
Did you have hair?
My hair was
below. Did you have a lot of hair?
Then I did. My hair was down below the middle of my back, and I would play like I would, you know, do the whole thing. We'd go play, you know, a club. I'd sneak in at 14, 15 years old and play a club and play these rock songs. Like I can play Wanted Dead or Alive on the mandolin. I mean, you know, I was in it. And then Sunday in the middle of Mississippi in a big old church playing gospel music with, you know, my hair gelled up, you know, trying to, you know, make it look right. So I think you close yourself off if you don't listen to different things. I think you can make yourself sound, if the song's right for you, I think you can take any song from any genre if you make it yours and it's yours and do it any way you want. I mean, look at Ray Charles. Ray Charles made one of the greatest selling country albums of all time. Now think about that. You know, I think if you close yourself off, you're hurting yourself. I think you need to listen to. I don't listen to rap though, Audie. I mean, I have to draw the line. I have to draw the line somewhere. The last song that I used to like was the Humpty Dance. I love that one. But you know,
Did you just see that comment? I love it.
Yeah.
Just admit that you had a mullet, okay?
Oh, honey, I had the power mullet. I mean, it was it was business in the front and any kind of partying in the back. I mean, it was tight, baby. I'm telling you, it was tight.
I think we need picture proof of both of you with some nice hair action.
Oh, I never had nice hair action.
Oh, I had even when I was a teenager, man, I had the product. You know, I did. I mean, I had any kind of thing that you needed back in the day. I had a mane. It was high. It was tight.
I went from bad hair to no hair. There was never any. Mine turned loose way before it turned gray, man.
You know, the old saying is the way you see, everybody used to say, well, you're getting the 40-year-old spread, right? That's how you're getting middle age. That ain't true. The way you know somebody's hitting middle age, you put the hat on. Yes, ma'am. I'll tell you funny. Lorraine Jordan asked me, we'd done a show with them last year with Carolina Blue at their annual thing they have in November. And I walked up and she says, why do you wear a hat? She's like, everybody's wearing a hat. And I'll admit, I mean, it's funny. So I just pulled my hair back. My hair is real thin. I was like, well, Lorraine, honey, it's because I'm bald. And she sat there and looked at me. She said, yeah, you really are. That was it.
I had a photographer one time that was a photographer and writer that really used to badger me about wearing a hat on stage all the time. And he said, it just makes it so hard to photograph, I guess with the light coming down and it puts this like black, like
shadow.
It kind of obscures your face. And he said, why do you insist on wearing a hat all the time? And I said, man, I'm bald. I'm bald as a cue ball.
Yeah, I mean,
and he insisted, he just said, just take it off for this one show, And he took a bunch of photos of me and it was
was it the light bulb that was
next time I saw him, he said, did you bring your hat? I said, yeah. He said, good. Put it back on.
Yeah, man. I mean, do you want the shadow or the sheen? That's your two options.
Oh, yeah.
Which one do you want?
Well, with the sweat and the heat on stage and those lights, it turned me into a disco ball, man.
Oh, yeah. And it's when we shot our video, Sammy kept pounding to tell me to, I'm real bad about pulling my hat down. He said, I can't see your face, He's like, got to push your hat up. People got to see your face. So, but yeah, that's why I wear one. I mean, if you feel confident on stage, if putting a hat on makes you feel confident, do it. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat, Audie. I mean, I ain't to the stone, but she's mighty close.
Oh, all right. So I'm going to ask you something to reimagine now as we're getting real here on Real Talk. And what are you most curious about? What would it take for you to dive deeper? And it doesn't have to be, obviously, it doesn't have to be music related. Just I want you to think about something that you're most curious about, and what would it take you to dive deeper? Nick?
I'll tell you what I'm most curious about other than playing music is recording. The old analog boards and stuff and the tape machines, I could run those. I could run a razor blade with the best of them because that's what I learned on. But I really wish that I would have dove deeper into the new digital stuff. It's because I think knowledge is power in that. If you understand the lingo when you're playing live or you're in the studio and you're saying, my mandolin just don't sound right or this don't sound right or you'd be able to say, well, you need to pull 7 dB up to 12 dB. I'd like to, dive deeper into something like that. I think it would help. I think it would help me. I mean, music's not all I think about, but it's number one, but it's not all I think about. Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that, everybody think about, like what goes into making the music, making the product and going on stage. There's so much behind the scenes. And, I think the ideal is to be knowledgeable of so much more. I mean, I do it every day. I mean, I try to learn other different sides of the business in radio. I work in our promotions. I handle our website and helping that build and, promoting the app and as well as listening online. But, recently it's now I mean, Sunday, the Bluegrass show, I mean, it's all me. I'm the program director. I do everything. But it's also now, kind of learning that side for, our classic country and making sure, things get in that, may not be in there for the requests that come in, and learning the system and learning that technology, how it all flows. So it's like that behind the scenes is always a key thing. Whether you use it or not, the knowledge of it is very important. So you understand what that person that you hire to do is doing it the way you want it to be done. I do
on my recording. I've done all my recordings with a guy here in town. His name's Eddie Swan. He used to be he was a major. He used to be sole half owner of one of the biggest record labels in the country, gospel and stuff. And I go to him because, we've built that relationship. He'll answer my questions. But, you go back and you look at like J.D. Crowe and Tony Rice and all those guys, Hot Rise, those guys, when they were in the studio, the reason why their album sounded so good to me is because they understood how the buttons worked. Mm-hmm. Then you had to get what they were hearing, and Audie, I don't know if you've ran into that or not, but it's like, my mandolin sounds like a tub. What can I do to get, or it's got so much overing, can you pull back this to give me this effect, or
right.
I'd like to have been more knowledgeable with the digital stuff, like, the analog stuff, high 2 millions and a low, and ever how much, reverb you want on something, and I'm not a big fan of reverb anyway. I like everything real dry. But, just to understand that, with this new digital stuff, you have to do it this way to get that effect because the technology is different. That's where I would dive in deeper. I mean, the modeling career is over. So, I've got to, that's kind of what I delve into.
So, all right, Audie, this, I'm curious, for you, I mean,
honestly, I'm really intrigued. I want to build a guitar.
Okay.
Maybe it's not something that I would do for like, I don't necessarily think that I see that as like a career or anything like that, or any kind of source of income, but I would love to learn to build instruments. Particularly a guitar. I mean, I want to build an electric. I want to build a really nice acoustic, and I'm lucky enough to have a few people in my life that are really talented luthiers and builders that I know, that I've spent some time talking to them, and it's just, it's raised a level of curiosity in me that I just have this feeling that at some point in my life, I'm going to build a guitar. And it might be horrible. I don't know, but I want to do it. I just want to do it. I'm one of those people that I feel like I do really well with stuff where I can say, here's the end result. Look at this tangible thing, and you have something that you can assess your work. Like you can look at it and compare it to something else and say, okay, here's where I can. Next time around, this is what I need to fix, or this is how I guess I'm like a process learner in that way. But I don't know. I guess spending my whole life around guitars and around music and things like that, I've just always wanted to build a guitar, and maybe with some help from some of these people, maybe I can build something decent. I don't know, but it's just more than needing it to have a nice guitar. It's about just being able to say that I did it. And I think that like completing that project will also teach me some things about the instrument that I don't know, So,
as you guys obviously have discovered what you love and your passion is all about. What is an old passion that maybe you guys want to, light the fire under? Audie?
Oh, I told her I would never talk about her on the air.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren, what's up, man? Honestly, an old passion.
Yeah, something that you kind of like put back on that back burner, and then it's just sitting cold. But now it's time to light the flame, and
I'm not that good at that many things. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that I've really laid down that I miss that much that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
but I will say this: there are some things that I wish I had more time to focus on. That I'm still doing, but maybe just not to the degree that I wish I could. Like, I love grilling. I love cooking in general. I mean, I am a food snob. My wife will, oh my God, I drive her crazy. She'll eat, like, for dinner. I wouldn't be surprised if I walk out of here when this is over and she's sitting in there with just like a block of cheese. And no, that's dinner. And I'm like, no, that is not dinner. That is not dinner. I can be a bit of a food snob, but I just like making really good food, and and the process of doing it is just as enjoyable as the meal itself, between I work a full-time job. We got a little girl, and the music thing, even though we've been off the road, I've been as busy as I've ever, just in different ways. You just find different ways to focus your energy on that. So I wish I had time to do more.
Right.
In the kitchen and things like that. I'd love to explore like slow smoking a little more than I have, and things like that.
That's good. I mean,
I'm a bit of a grill enthusiast, but What
kind of grill do you have?
I could be. I mean, I spend a lot of time on YouTube watching other people cook, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
So what do you grill on right now? What are you guys grilling on?
Right now I've got just the old classic Weber, the old
nice,
round black classic. But I mean, I've had other grills in the past, and I keep coming back to that thing, I mean, I've never had anything super, super fancy, but I don't know. The Weber's it's a pretty consistent. It's a standby, man.
Hey, if the food is delicious on it, it's all good, So Nick, in that you were passionate about that went on the back burner, and
well, it's real funny. This is probably people that actually know me. It's hard for them to believe, that I grew up in the backwoods of Madison County. I'm a redneck. I mean, that's just, so, down there, we had I grew up near a farm, and we had, 2 or 3 acre garden. My favorite class in school was FFA. I loved it. I loved it. And we used to like grow our own garden, canner stuff to eat through the winter. And, when your dad's favorite game to play with you is go water the garden, at that point in time, here's a bucket and there's the branch, get to it, and they wasn't no hoses. We didn't believe in hoses, but you look back, I look back at it, and man, it was fun. Me and my wife were talking about it, and that was my favorite class in school. And if I own a piece of property out here in Weaverville, there's just no way to put like a garden or I could be a pretty good farmer. I mean, I was really into the, soil samples, nitrates, what you mix to get this and get to that. I was really into it. I mean, I could straight up do some farming. I mean, I grew up that way, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it's peaceful. You're out there, and you get to. It's like Audie was saying about the guitar. At the end of the day, you get to see what you've done. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
Because growing up in a little community I was from, there was only 4 things to do, and this was pre-cable. If you had 3 channels, you were lucky. I went to school in the middle of the French Broad River, K through 8. So you either fished, you grew tobacco, you played music, or you played softball. That was the 4 things you done growing up, But yeah, but if I could get back into doing stuff like that, my brother still tends a garden to this day, but he has the property for it. But I really, we were just talking about, all these crazy things that's going on, and it's like a Hank Williams song, "Country Folks Can Survive." I mean, I would rather go to Ingles and buy my meat to eat, but I can cut a deer's head off and cook him. I know how to do that. I know how to do that kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, all right. So we have a question, and I'm going to kind of broaden this out, because not necessarily a favorite song in bluegrass of yours, but what is your ultimate favorite? How about your ultimate go-to song? What's going to get you going? What gets you excited to hop on stage and, say, we're going to have a great show. We're going to have a great day. What is your go-to song to pump you up for the day? It's got to be a favorite one. I mean, I'm sure there's one. I know there is. I can see it. I can feel it. So, Nick, what's your favorite Ultimate song?
Oh my God, I listen to so much music. It's according to what mood I'm in. I mean, that's the best answer I can get. If I'm in a great mood, and I'm real hyper and really, I like to listen to something to kind of mellow me out. Or if I'm in a crappy mood, I might want to listen to something that's kind of uplifting, put me in that place. Or if I'm just, or I might listen to something to pick me up. Anything that will get me in that moment. I mean, it could be AC/DC before one show, and it could be Blue Ridge Cabin Home the next. It's just, and I don't mean to be so vague about it, but it's just, it's according to what mood I'm in. Because you just drove, from Asheville to Maine, and you didn't stop, and you've been behind the wheel 19 hours, and you've got 2 hours of sleep. You got to go on stage with a happy face. The Audie knows exactly. Well, I'm not gonna listen to Love Me Tender. I'm gonna listen to like Freeze Frame, or I'm gonna listen to something of that, maybe to like, get you going. I hate to be so vague, but it's
You're
just
gonna listen to Tupac, aren't you?
No, I'll say that. Absolutely. Now, my wife, oh my God, don't get me started on that. I'm absolutely. It's according to what mood I'm in, or how I'm feeling at that moment. Even when I go to the recording studio, it's according to what kind of mood I'm in to the songs that we record. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, it's just.
I totally can relate to that.
If you ain't feeling something, if you're singing about your true love and you feel like strangling her, you don't want to go record that song that day. I mean,
today's a bad day for this one. It's funny. I struggle with favorite song and favorite album questions and things like that, because I don't think it's that simple. I mean, it's like Nick said, to me, it is so hard to narrow it down, and so much of it has to do with what kind of headspace I'm in at any given time. But since you asked specifically about pump up music, man,
I never told you this was going to be, simple answers or simple questions.
Right. No, I know.
It's getting real, man.
It's I mean, I love me some Stevie Ray Vaughan for that kind of stuff. Stevie Ray is just, there's something about that just gets your blood flowing, right? I love that stuff. Now, if we're talking about before I step on stage, honestly, I don't really listen to a lot of music before we step on stage. I try to kind of just clear my mind,
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan does it for me to get me, like, if I'm up in the morning and I'm going to try to get a workout in, or I'm about to go out and do something and I'm kind of groggy and I need to wake up, I put Stevie Ray Vaughan. He does it for me, but again, it's all about what kind of mood I need to be in, or what kind of mood I'm trying to get myself to. There's a lot of times that I will listen to music because it puts me, I know it sounds weird, but like, if you get in the mood to have the feels, there's music that I listen to for that kind of stuff too. There are some songs that I can listen to and I can look down and just see the goose flesh rolling.
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes you feel alive to feel that stuff too.
True.
Absolutely.
So it all just kind of depends. I mean, for me, it's kind of like a spice rack,
Right.
You don't always reach for the same things at the same times, but it all just kind of depends on what you're needing at the moment,
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, every time I get in that car and I'm not listening to, new music that have come in that I have to, review and kind of, see where it's going to fit throughout the shows, that shuffles on. And if all of a sudden you hear the song and it's like, oh, nope, I'm not in the mood for you right now, skip, kind of thing. That's, and then I got to get, like, this morning, it was like, all right, I'm doing good. We're going to have a great day. I'm feeling, 4th of July is coming up on Saturday. I got the Real Talk today. I would, this afternoon during my show, I interviewed Angela Birdie from Niagara Falls State Park. So it was like, I got some great people I'm talking to today. It's going to be fun. Yeah. And, all of a sudden, honestly, X's and O's from Ella King came on. I was like, oh, there we go. That's that is a good way to kick off a morning drive to work, So But as we get ready to kind of wind down Real Talk, let's kind of mention a few things again. Audie McGinnis, of course, Unspoken Tradition. You guys' new singles out at the bottom again. Amazing, great tune. I mean, it's just you guys do it. You bring in all the different elements of all the styles to one amazing, great tune. Of course, and Unspoken Traditions website. Everybody's got to check you guys out. Download it. Get your copy of that single as we wait the anticipation of the next new album. Of course, the current one that's been out and have rave reviews, of course, is Myths We Tell Our Youths, our Young, sorry, which is another spectacular one. So if nobody has it, if you don't have it, grab it. And of course, Nick Chandler and Delivered well, let me go back. Audie, you guys are on Mountain Home Music Company. And that, so which we got to give a shout out to Mountain Home and everything that they do with you guys. Nick, you're on 615 Hideaway Records,
Right.
Inside the Lines, getting ready to be released July 24th.
Real excited about it. Yeah.
Is Two Timer, and the website is Nick Chandler and Delivered. So everybody needs to check that out. NickChandlerandDelivered.com, UnspokenTradition.com, and there's so much. This could always go on as we get really in depth, and I think as I know the folks who are watching and joining us with their comments and that, and myself, you guys are, you've inspired a lot of great inspirational things to think about and what we've touched base on. But during COVID-19, obviously that kind of changed everybody's thinking of what to do and, looking for work, getting work, where are we going to, what's going to happen with our gigs? How are we going to support our family? And, Audie, tell us a little bit about like what you have had to do, to, kind of, fill that empty music void that's been going on.
I was thinking about making an exotic dancer joke, but I think I'll withhold. So my wife, when we brought our little girl home, it wasn't really in the game plan, but we pretty quickly decided that she wanted to stay home, and I fully supported that. I wanted her to, be with the kid and the kid be with her as much as possible in those early years. And so I kept working and playing. And in the meantime, Beth Ann has started up a little side business, which I guess for her is kind of a business, but it's she's doing like home decor and building like farmhouse style decorations and signs and things like that. And so I've been doing all the woodworking that goes along with that. And then she designs and makes them pretty, and then we sell them to people. And so, that's it. We've got a sign, one in particular that I actually had sitting here that I was going to show you guys. It is a welcome sign for a house. You could put that in your foyer. I don't know if you can read that, but it says, "Welcome, let's talk about serial killers." That was actually a custom order that a buddy of mine.
It wasn't Darren Nicholson, was it?
That is some Darren Nicholson stuff right there, but no, it wasn't. A buddy of mine actually asked for a custom order, and they're really into true crime, and we posted that on our social media website or our social media site, and it just exploded. And I mean, we've sold some of our other stuff too, but I think I've made like 40 of those signs in the last 3 weeks, and it's getting to the point that when we do start playing again, I don't know what I'm going to do. We're busy, and that's good, but it's like, whew, man, I've been making.
I think you just sold another one.
Yeah, making lots of sawdust. So, yeah.
And Nick, obviously, you guys are kind of like in the same boat, but also not at the same aspect. What are you guys doing?
Well, we figured it up. We have lost a lot of shows this year. I didn't realize that we were so fortunate to have so many shows that we've lost. Hopefully we get to do the other ones, but I'm like Audie, I still carry a day job. I mean, I heard one of the best music quotes ever about playing music. The music business is shaky at best. So, and I'm in a different boat. My guitar player, Hudson Bosworth, he's from Utah, so he went home. So we haven't got to play other than, we have these video conferences. And then I lost my banjo player. So we've been, lucky enough to be able to find someone, Will Eller, quick enough. Just trying to, a lot of people have lost a lot of band members. I know,
Yes.
Audie, and you guys are lucky. Y'all stayed together, through this and we're able to weather it. But but me and I work. My wife just finished nursing school. Hey, honey, and I'm just sitting here waiting for the tens of dollars to roll in. but like I say, I keep busy. I'm always, as soon as I got done with our last, I'm gonna do a selfish plug too. Here you go. Inside the lines, we have some for sale. I started looking for new material the minute I finished this one up and got it to Sammy Passamano, who I'd like to send a shout out to, actually runs Bluegrass Music TV. Thanks, Sammy, for all you do.
Thanks for helping me remember him.
Yeah. But I stay busy. Like the job I've got's great. I'm able to work Monday through Thursday, which means Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I can go anytime I want. Trudy just finished up. Like I say, she just finished up nursing school, so we're excited about that. Just raising a pug. That's it. All of our kids are grown, and so that's what we've got.
So Audie, folks want to know, how much is it shipped to California? Rick wants to get one. Shauna wants one. They want to know how they could get some of these specialty signs from the one.
Oh no, this is what I was afraid of. I'm creating a way for myself. No, honestly, I don't have the answer to any of those questions because my wife is running this thing.
Yeah,
I'm running saws. That's it. Which is a really dangerous side job for a musician if you think about it. But no, I'm doing all the building and she's handling the logistics of it. So I'm really not sure. But I will tell you this: we have an Etsy store, and if you search for a little beautiful mess. Sorry, I always want to put that in the wrong order. I think the name was inspired by our daughter. So but it's A Little Beautiful Mess. That particular sign is on Amazon as well. The Let's Talk About Serial Killers sign. So just check us out. She's got a Facebook page, A Little Beautiful Mess, or Little Beautiful Mess on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm sure if you look it up there, you'll be able to calculate all that stuff if you guys want one of those signs. But man, oh great! I'm as soon as this is over, I'm gonna run back out to the shop and start cutting again. I can feel it.
That's awesome. I mean, well, it's gonna keep you busy for the next few months. Cool.
Thank you for your support, feeding these hungry musicians.
Yeah.
So so before we wrap things up, I have one last question that is going to be one for you to think about a little bit. All right. Are you ready for them? Ready for it? I'm ready for it, because this one is a little more real than anything we've talked about, I think.
Yes, I'm a natural blonde. Oh, sorry.
So, something to reimagine, just imagine this, or, kind of put that frame thinking in your head at this moment. But what does the perfect love look like to you? And what is one way this love would help you reimagine your partnership?
You can go first, Hoss. Oh man. I mean, the first half of that question, I think I have an immediate answer.
Okay.
To me, true love is presence. It's being there. It's being invested in somebody, Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think that's the case whether you're talking about a romantic relationship or like a parent child, or even like I don't know, like a mentor mentee kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Any kind of good relationship, I think it's got to have that foundation of presence, and you got to be willing to listen and meet people where they're at and be understanding and yeah, just make people feel valued. You got to make a person feel valued. And I think when someone feels valued, then I don't know, you just get a whole different version of them,
Oh yeah.
And what was the second part of that?
What is
Are
one
you
way?
a natural blonde?
I was a natural blonde. No, about reimagining my partnership.
Yes. What is one way this love would help you reimagine your partnership?
Oh God, it's like answering that automatically makes me like
Yeah.
put me in trouble. I don't like this.
It's real.
My internet's breaking up. Are you guys there?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I will say there have been times. In my marriage where maybe I haven't always been the best listener and I haven't always been the most present, and it's really easy to do that when, especially as a musician, and you're gone, and you do what you can on the phone and you do what you can but when you get in, even when it's a local gig and you get back at 1 or 2 in the morning and everybody's in bed and that kind of thing, and don't get me wrong, my wife is the most supportive band wife you could ever ask for. She's incredible. But it's I don't know. I mean, I think at some points in my relationship, I haven't been the most present. And even when I am physically present, it's like I'm not always mentally present, but it's something that I've really tried to put effort in working toward,
Sometimes I wonder maybe we do need to bring the spouse in to answer that kind of question with you on that. No.
Nick's shaking his head yes, and I'm like, no.
Oh, son, I'm a pre-thinker.
I was going to say Trudy's in the room right now.
Oh, she's like, look forward, don't do this,
she's the traffic person.
Yeah. She's
so
like,
Nick,
don't say
you.
this, don't say this, Yeah.
Right. So again, here's the question, Nick. For you, what does the perfect love look like to you? And what is one way this love would help you reimagine partnership?
Well, this is it beside me right now. I mean, really, and what she I can't reimagine it because she's already done it. It's just make me a better person. I mean, I'm so much happier since she's been in my life. We've all been through bad relationships, and it's kind of like I say this a lot about things, but it's crazy what you can get used to, what you think normal should be. And then when you get out of that, it's like, that was nuts. That was kind of, but this is it. Me and Trudy have she's my best friend. She does things like I could care less about this technology stuff, doing the Facebook. I'll go in there and I'll like things and I'll answer people's questions, but doing the websites and stuff, she's went to nursing school, finished that, taken all these tests, and she has kept up that. She does my booking. It's just one of those things that, this is it. I mean, me and her are absolutely the best friends. We talk
as much as you and Bobby talk. You and Bobby Paul.
But she's been but disclaimer, she's been in school and I haven't taken tests and she's not even allowed to have her phone with her. But it's one of those things of, we talk a lot. I mean, even a lot of my friends say, man, you and Trudy I'd never, when I leave the house to go play a show or I go do this, never. We just, not till I get home, and we're just not like that, are we? I mean, we're really not. Even when we were at the beach last week, I'm up in the room watching House and she's down there, soaking in the sun. We're still texting each other, even though we're 100 feet apart. So, that's true. I mean, I don't mean to sound sappy because, I'm not that guy.
Because she's sitting right next to you.
No, I would say this whether she was beside me or not. I mean, I'm being real serious. Yeah. She's been great for me.
We have fun times.
We have a big time together. Yeah.
Now Bobby, Nick, and myself do have a 3-way group chat.
Yeah.
I almost was like, oh, this is a friendly show.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, what kind
oh my God.
You gotta be happy with your husband's best friend when he includes you on the group chat about,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
funny memes or whatever.
That's
You know,
transparency. That's transparency.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how transparent I am with her. I don't even know my Facebook, any of my passwords.
No.
I don't have a clue. She can look at whatever I do, you know. But we're best friends. I mean, we do everything. She supports me. I bounce a lot of things off of her.
Yeah,
And-
I have a lot more to do with some things than I ever thought that I would. Like
Yeah.
even when
Right.
even coming to the songs on the album, the order that they go, you know, at the end, like the order of the album, that he left that totally up to me. And I mean, I spent a lot of time working on that and
well, you know,
little things like that. Me and Sammy designed the cover, and I like doing that kind of stuff though.
my most
Right.
my most favorite thing about her is she's not a yes person. She does not tell me what I want to hear. I don't need that. I mean, I can't fix something if I know it's not broke. If it sucks, tell me it sucks. But don't say, well, you know, that's pretty good. That sounds fine. I don't want that. Honey, you can do that better. That's no good. Or that song's horrible. It don't sound like you. That's what I want. You know,
You know, honestly, I think that's the most important thing, whether it's, you know, a friend, a spouse, a label, or a DJ. When you ask, you know, something about a song or an album in its entirety, you know, be ready to hear the honest truth.
Right.
You know, you know, in my position, you know, I receive so many new singles or albums a
Right.
week. And then, you know, after I have it for a couple weeks, if not even less than maybe 3-4 days, I'm hearing from someone within the organization of that band asking me, you know, well, what do you think? And I'm like, are you ready to have the honest conversation? And I just had to recently have that honest conversation with a label, you know, that wanted my opinion on something. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I only like 6 tracks. It's an 18, you know, it was an 18, 19 or 20 track album. I'm like, there's 6 songs. And I had to be flat out honest. I mean, I had to be real. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, oh, yeah, it was great. Well, you know, I'm going to be honest. Well, I didn't know, you know, these were songs that as soon as you heard them, you should have known what they were. And I'm like, yeah, not happening. So, you know, with that, it's very important to have that person or people in your camp, you know, to be honest, and say, you know, well, you don't want to play the lick like that, or no, you don't want to do that. And because they know you, you know, they know that you could be better. They want you to be a better version of yourself.
Right.
And it's, you know, you guys surround yourself with those people for a reason. So utilize it, right? That's the key thing. And so as I know I've really, you know, really taken up your guys' time today, because, you know, this was a lot of fun. I've been enjoying this. And I got one. This is the final last question. And whoever answers it first, I'm going to, you know, this is going to be kudos. Okay. It's history. It's history stuff. So not like, you know, not about monuments, not about statues or anything like that.
Thank God.
We won't get that real today.
Yeah.
But
you don't want that conversation with me.
No. So we were talking about Hall of Famers. We were talking about the Hall of Fame inductees and in that. So let's go back to the great Bill Monroe. Okay. Now, he's been inducted into 3 Hall of Fames. I think possibly, well, I mean, we'll talk about the major ones, not saying songwriter, all those other ones, and the stars and things like that aren't included. But we're talking Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay? He's in all 3 of those. What year was he inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Without Googling it or anything, because I know you guys know this. Do you know what year he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't have a clue.
I'm trying to think of what he would have, like, what would have precipitated that induction.
Yeah. The influence other artists. It was he was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his influence.
Probably Elvis. Same time as Elvis, I'd say 70s. Bobby Powell, when is it? I know you know.
No idea.
I don't know. You stumped me on that one. Yeah.
All right.
Good
1997.
Whoa.
1997 for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Had
So,
to wait to
okay.
give him his flowers till he is gone. Yeah, that's
Typical.
And of course, what year was he inducted into the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame?
That had to have been 1990. Because if he didn't go in for, I think that would have been first year, wasn't it? 1990 would have been. If he wasn't on first ballot, God, they're crazy.
I don't know that he was on first.
Well, he invented it.
Was he on
Still-
second?
Doesn't matter.
Was he on third? Did he hit a home run?
Well, you go. I mean, that was my guess. Is 1990 when it was in the. You know, when the. I think that was the inception of it, wasn't it? Sorry, I'm horrible. I'm horrible when it comes to that stuff. Now, if it's a song playing and give me 3 notes, I'll tell you what it is. But don't ask me. Yeah.
I'm at a loss. I have no idea. I couldn't even give a good guess. I don't know.
You guys are cracking me up. 1991.
Dang it.
That was close.
I was close.
Yeah.
I,
So who
but
won?
it-
But okay, who won Entertainer of the Year in 1991 of
was it Hot
IBMA?
Rise? Was it Hot Rise?
I'm gonna go with Ricky Skaggs. I don't know. Like Kentucky Thunder.
Hot Rise was the first Entertainers of the Year, and that was 1990.
Yeah.
So it'd be
Del McCurry?
No, I'm asking you. I can't remember.
Oh. I remembered the first year. I remember the first year because I was a huge Hot Rise fan. I knew that they were the first entertainers. I just couldn't remember. But yeah.
So you ask us a trivia question, and then you ask a question that you need to answer to.
Yeah.
We all.
I mean, I could easily pull out my
thought you
books
had
that
the
has
answer.
it.
We thought you had the
Oh,
answer.
you know,
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not.
Come on. Well, honestly, I'm not even seeing anybody who's listening and watching answer that one either. I mean, come on, Rick. I know Rick probably knows. Rick probably knows. But so all right, I'm going to ask you this. All right, one more question. I know this is fun just because this is just real. So who is your prediction for Entertainer of the Year 2020? Who do you think's going to take it?
Don't do
I just predict.
Oh man.
Can I say who one of my favorites would have been? Can I be that real?
Ooh.
Can I say who I would have liked to have seen up there? Sideline.
Agreed.
I'd love to have seen Sideline. I mean, if you've never,
That's a hard second. That's a hard second on that for sure, man.
Okay. On that, were you guys surprised they were not nominated for anything?
Yes.
So
them boys ain't scared of it, man. They'll get out. They're doing it.
That's it.
Their shows. I mean, you watch their shows; they're entertaining. I mean, I'm just a huge fan. I've known Steve not great, but I know him. We're pretty good acquaintances. I've known him for a while, and
you can tell how hard they work.
And you can tell how hard they work. I mean, watching those guys. I mean, they're not afraid to like switch out instruments, and when they switch out instruments, I mean, how many of y'all knew Steve could play the mandolin like he could? I mean, I kind of knew that, but you wouldn't have known that. They're not afraid. Hopefully, I'm not making anybody mad, but Sideline was one of the ones I was shocked did not get in there. I mean, to watch the show is unreal.
Well, it was Alison Krauss in 1991 that won Entertainer of the Year with Union Station. So with that,
same. You didn't know that.
We didn't know it.
We didn't. You didn't. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. The answer.
That was probably the year that's close to when Two Highways came out.
I think it would have been, wouldn't it? It should have been the Two Highways album.
Close. Yeah.
Well,
somebody just commented about Skip jumping off the stage. I mean,
and not miss a lick.
And you know the story about him smashing that guitar, right?
Yes. I mean, did you watch? I mean, I was watching this concert they were at this past weekend. One mic.
Yep.
I mean, but they didn't care, man. They were just absolutely getting it.
Yep.
Absolutely getting
it. And during all of this time of uncertainty, I got to say, they got after it in a virtual sense like nobody I saw. I mean, those guys were. You couldn't get on. You couldn't pick your phone up without seeing them live streaming.
Yeah.
And it. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
On that note, how do you guys both have you know, as a fan of music, embrace seeing that happen during this time of virtual shows, you know, and seeing them up the game a little bit in the artists, you know, obviously starting off with, you know, no mics, just simply right there in front of their computer or sitting there right there with their phone and playing. But now here we are, we're seeing shows in living rooms, you know, with the board going into the computer and working that sound part.
I'm kind of glad. Sorry,
go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. I can wait.
Nick, go.
I think it's people just doing the only thing they knew to do, you know, but at the same time, it's so difficult to do a live stream. I mean, we had an opportunity. We did it's called the No Contact series, probably back in the beginning of May. Yeah. We did it. And I mean, it was a full production in an empty like venue, and really great camera work. The sound was really good, you know, and I mean, it was, for all intents and purposes, we were playing a concert in an empty venue, you know, and it was it was broadcast. Really cool opportunities have come up, and there have been some people that have gotten creative with it. But at the end of the day, you are asking people to pick up the most distracting thing in their whole life and watch you for an extended period of time. Yeah. And I mean, for a while,
like they are now.
It was the best thing we could do. Yeah, like right now. Yeah. But no, for a while I really felt like it was all we had. But I also feel like unless there's a major turn with the capabilities of this, it's hard. It is, and it's so hard because I feel like the human contact part of it is muted. You know, like you just don't get that the way that you do getting it live.
Yeah, the interaction is what we feed off of.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's weird. Like we did that No Contact series. We'd finish a song, and
you wait for it. Yeah,
Well, that's just like watching the Grand Ole Opry, you know, with no audience, and you know you see them on stage performing, and just the other day, Juno Awards up in Canada, you know, the virtual awards, which, you know, this is going to be a new experience for us with IBMA, how that will you know, take place and everything. So but Nick, you know, give us what your thoughts as this develops.
It was kind of nice to see some people, you know, playing stuff. We would have done them, you know, they'd have been spread out. We would have done them, but you know, Hudson being in, you know, 3,000 miles away, and then, you know, Spencer dropping out, we were having to break somebody, and we would have done some live things. We done a couple of the other kind of videos. What do they call those?
Like the acapella.
Yeah, the acapella stuff. But I'm gonna tell you what, people think that everybody talks about 4G and 5G, and you can hear this. Try doing it when you're playing. The lag is unreal. I mean, you have to do it. You literally have to do it several times just to be able to play in time.
Acapella will make you want to pull your hair out.
Yeah, make you want to pull your hair out.
I mean, it's fun, but at the same time, it's tough.
But on the flip side of that, and you want me to be real, and you know, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think there was some people out there that saturated way too much. I mean, it was just like every time you would turn something on, there they are, and it's like, look, dude, you know, we get it, but but I can't stand to look at you 4 times a week. I mean, I'm not being mean. It's like, but every time you try to watch something or something come up, you know, it's on your live feed, and it's like, and I'm not saying it to be mean, but it's just like, you know,
no, you're being real.
You got to find that fine thing of keeping people wanting to watch you, but also not making people sick of you.
You can oversaturate.
You can oversaturate. Yeah. It's like my friends Carolina Blue, you know, they staggered theirs out. They had good fans turn in, you know, they had a lot of views. Sideline, they always done it. It's just like when they put it out, it's like, yeah, I'm ready to see this. It wasn't like 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, you can oversaturate it. And, you know, and to me, it kind of hurts. It hurts what it is if you do that, because it's like, my God, here we go again with something else live. It's like,
earlier when I said you couldn't pick up your phone without seeing sideline, half of the time though, it was just Steve cooking breakfast.
Swaggerty. I mean, son, they're making that. He's doing that contract right, man. He's in everything for him.
I get on Facebook and there's people wearing sideline shirts, cooking sausage like every morning.
Oh yeah.
And Steve Dillon, if you see this, we say this because we would love to have that. Don't think for a minute.
I'm saying it because I would
Audie cut a man for it. Would we not? We'd cut a man for that deal, would we not? I mean,
well, let me say something too. Just like Nick was saying, when you're missing it, like we saw Larry Stevenson come on, I think for the first time since everything shut down, and we were like, Larry Stevenson,
yeah.
So because we haven't seen him, and he only did one song, and we're just like,
yeah. I mean, he got like 3,000 views in one deal,
like 2 seconds,
and then some of my
so good,
and then some of my friends that do this, that have went up there, is like, well, I can't get but 100 people to watch me. Yeah, but I mean, you're asking people to watch you every 30 seconds.
Yeah,
going to these are the reason why concerts were always on the weekend is because it's a build. It makes it exciting. It's an event to do it. I like cake better than anybody, but I don't want it every day.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, and speaking of a cake, I got to finish making a cake before my brother gets back or gets into town for the holiday.
Can I do a shameless plug?
You did. Yeah.
Well, I was wanting to tell everybody I didn't get a chance to go. If you'll go to Nick Chandler Delivered on Facebook, give us a like, and then when we get back playing these shows, and just kind of keeping up with the guys. And first one thing we put out things, or go give us a like there. If you would like the new CD, here you go, Sammy.
It's not officially released.
It's not officially released. We have a few. Go on there, and if there's anything you like, we have these nifty hats here. And from what I understand, we bought the best hats you could buy, and I didn't know that we spent too much money and we could have got away a lot cheaper. Of course, I'm a tightwad.
That's why I don't tell them anything.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Go on there if you like anything, or just go give us a listen. Call you DJ like Michelle. Michelle, thank you so much for doing this again. Me and Trudy were talking about you not long ago, and
I'm sorry.
Well, it's just like, sometimes you meet these people you just kind of click with, and it's like we feel like we've known you a long time. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for what you've done. I'm serious. I thank you so much.
Oh, we have stories. That's for sure.
Well, I told Sammy the other day, he said something about Michelle and what you were doing. I was like, yeah, Sammy, I know. I talk to her, every couple of days or whatever. He was like, oh gosh, do you guys talk about me or something? I said, no, we really don't talk about music that much.
No.
It's not all about music.
No, just like this. It's not all about music, right?
Interviewing with Michelle is like talking to an old friend that really likes you talk about yourself.
I'm gonna tell you something.
I'm okay with that.
I done an interview with this guy, and it was like, I'm not gonna say who it was, of course, but because I need to do another one down the road. But it was, I was on there for 10 minutes, and I swear to my good Lord and Savior above, I felt like I was on there 3 hours and 10 minutes. Have you ever done that, Audie? It's like crickets. You couldn't get anything going with them, and it's like, well,
who's interviewing who here?
Yeah. I know. I'm like, oh. I would never want that to ever happen. I never want to make any artist or any person ever feel like we're not friends. Anytime. It's the most important thing, I think, from what I've learned and from what I've watched and the experiences of, you want to get to know the person. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not only, the person who plays the music and wants to interview. I'm a fan of the music. I want to know the stories. I want to know that, like, Nick got out of the shower and wrote a song, as he was in the shower.
There's a lot more to that story, but we won't go into that.
You mean that? Never mind. But that's the key thing. And Audie, I mean, me and you, we've talked now 3-4 times, whether this, I'm going to include this as like being 10 times in this 2-hour period.
Yeah.
But I mean, our conversations, it feels like we never skip a beat. It's, a great mesh, and you guys make it, you make the conversations very personal, and you make it enjoyable for me to continue asking the questions that I ask. And, I kind of feel as a fan, I want to know certain things. And I hope the listeners and the fans want that same kind of knowledge, brought to them as well, as much as I do. And I think it just gives a nice flavor to you as individuals in the bands that you're in. Unspoken Tradition, Nick Delivered and everything. I think, you need that individuality, but also, knowing the band as a whole. And I think that's the key thing for Real Talk Bluegrass. I mean, some of these questions I know are, we want to get a little core. We want to get into that core of the apple that you have inside you, because it's inspiring for what you do, because that's why you make the music you make with the guys that you're on the road with. And, I know.
If I can, I'd like to send a big shout, and I bet Audie would too. I'd like to thank all the guys that I make music with. My name is in the front, and the only reason my name is in the front is because in case anybody leaves, we are a band, pure and simple. Gary Trivet, I mean, I wouldn't take anything for Gary Trivet. Hudson Bosworth, I love, he's a great guy, goes to TTSU. Will Eller, Spencer Hatcher that was with me, and I'm sure, Audie, you feel the same way. I mean, we become like a family. Mm-hmm. I can make music with about anybody, but can I stand a ride with you for 20 hours? That's the question. And Audie knows that right there.
True story, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, and that's, that's part of the navigating this downtime we've had. That's, you gotta make sure everybody's good, and you got to make sure everybody's ready, and you got to listen to everybody. And it's, it comes with its own challenges, but I always, when it gets frustrating, or, things are getting heavy, it's, you got to remind yourself that if you didn't care about these people,
right,
it wouldn't, these decisions, the hard decisions are hard sometimes because you care about people, and that's, you can't drive all over the country and share the emotional experience of making music in front of people and not feel like a family, and if you can do that, I don't understand you.
And there's not enough money in bluegrass music to piss each other off. There's just not.
Yeah,
exactly. And one other thing, Michelle, I'd like to say, if I can. Yeah, I know I'm keeping going. You got me on a good day. I'm awake today. The one thing I like about bluegrass, and I hope they never get away from, that I've seen in other genres, is I hope they never try to take the artist and put them behind some wall that you have to go up there, like the suit Nazi from Seinfeld, and play. You know what I'm saying? I hope they never do that, because to me, that's what makes it special. Like IBMA last year, here's Sam Bush just walking around talking to guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the one special thing about this. I hope they never try to, segregate us as far as, well, you have to go over here at this certain time, and you can only talk to them at this certain table, and you get 30 seconds. I hope they never do that.
Now, I think the best thing is when the artists, when they're off stage, they're mingling outside, then walking around in the campgrounds or the concert area. I think that it just shows so much more appreciation that the artists have for their fans. Who come and see them. I've even experienced it, and I know I mentioned this on I think episode 1. I had a cousin, she was going through a divorce, and she wanted to get out of the house, and needed something to do. So I said, why don't you come to this, come to the MAC with me? And she came, and it was interesting because she didn't know anything about bluegrass, and here she goes, and she's like listening, and she's watching, and she's like, wait a minute, wasn't that guy just on stage playing? Was he not just? And she's like, don't they like stay backstage? I'm like, no. I was like, this is how it is. I said, this is where you get to know the artists in a personal level. But I know we want to kind of wrap things up on this Thursday as we get into the 4th of July weekend. I hope you guys have wonderful and safe, fun plans, and stay healthy. And I say this out to everybody. It's most important thing is, all throughout the country, numbers are going up. Regulations are being more restricted. Do your part, be smart, stay healthy, stay safe, and love your loved ones. This is the time where I think love has really grown and shown the key thing of everybody's true life, and true one being. And I just truly appreciate you guys being real with me today, and with all the fans who've joined us and who will be joining us in the later rebroadcasts of this. So I hope everybody gets a chance to share Real Talk Bluegrass with Bluegrass Music TV. Again, check out unspokentradition.com. and Nick Chandler and Delivered.com. Follow them on Facebook, social media pages, Instagram. They're all there. You might want to check out the show Smoke Country Jam and the Bluegrass Borderline on WOBL radio as well. I'm maybe the little host of the shows, but we have a lot of great fun, and you just never know the artists that will pop on the show and give me a shout, and we'll get a chance to talk to you as well. But we also got to thank Sammy Fassimano, Bluegrass Music TV, behind the scene, keeping us on for the last 2 hours plus, and we truly appreciate what he does.
Hey, man.
But, it's been fun. It's been real. And I look forward to the next episode, which is going to be 2 weeks from now. And that's going to be July 16th. And we have 2 special guests already lined up. Each week, or each episode, it brings something new, the flavor. I love it, the energy, the passion of everything we've talked about. You've set the bar. You definitely have. Both of you have. It's been awesome.
I'm telling you, a couple of rednecks from North Carolina. I mean, you can't go wrong. Amen.
So, Nick, Audie, thank you so much for being part of Real Talk Bluegrass today.
It's always
thanks, everybody. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
It's been real. It's Real Talk Bluegrass here with me, Michelle Lee, on Bluegrass Music TV. July 16th, you want to be back here with us, as we'll have special guests, 2 amazing singer-songwriters, Daryl Mosley and Louisa Branscombe. It's going to be a phenomenal conversation, as today was. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm ready on a high right now, so I don't know how I'm going to get off of it from today. But thank you again, you guys. Appreciate it. Audie, Nick, Trudy, Sammy, thank you so much for making this day. Everybody who tuned in, you made it real in Real Talk Bluegrass.
See y'all.
See ya.
Bye.